I'll
I
keep
wanted
using the
Pick to
one-handed
be
axe
a
since
good
it's
weapon
working.
so badly. I did.
Rock blood raiding parties are cutting
See that
loose in
Roger
the
right
fields
there?
around
He wants the
here.
bonk.
I don't need to tell you what that means for the poor bastards in their path. You're heading to Morgensloft, biggest farm in the area. If there are survivors, I hope there are, you'll find them held
Oh my.
captive there. Do what you can. Every prisoner freed is one less slave.
Boy,
used
forum's been
by
pretty
the
quiet
enemy.
today. I'm
And
kind of
we pay
surprised.
the dead
Wait
in
until
blood,
tomorrow.
if you follow.
It's
It's like
usually,
the quiet before the storm, right?
usually what happens is somebody posts a thread and it just turns into a giant 100 plus
Argument.
response argument.
15 pages.
Yeah, just, oh god. There was one, I think one I posted where it turned into like almost fucking 300
What'd you
posts.
say?
It was something about how to balance the elf, and that is always a giant contentious issue on the forum.
Yeah. Not surprised there.
There's so many people who just don't see some of her kit as being OP, and that's fair, it's their opinion, but
I think that it's more to do with the fact, I think that Elf is the poster child for people that don't realize they're not good at this game.
I mean, that's the thing, is certain loadouts for the elf are like, they're no brain, you know, and that's true with a lot of different classes.
I think you also need to like play most of the characters to be able to judge them. And I don't think many players actually have that playtime.
Oh yeah, I agree.
A lot of it comes down to is, even if they do have the playtime, a lot of the people I see consistently defending the OP garbage are people who, like, play one career and have done so for 4,000 hours. And it's like...
Yeah.
I also think, though, that they play the elf, they get all the green circles, and then they don't realize that, like, damage-wise, right, you get, you know, twice as much damage as anyone else. And they think that that makes them good, when it's really just overpowered. So when they don't get that same performance out of
Different
other
character.
characters, it's not that it's overpowered, it's, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. They just think that it can't be that they're just not good, it's that, you know,
It's that the other classes are... Well, a lot of people say, oh, the elf isn't overpowered, the other classes are underpowered. And to a certain extent, there's like one or two that I can agree on. Huntsman
I don't know.
in a bad place. Oh god, I just got jumped as we were going over. Oh, no, there's a second one. Let me over! No! It wouldn't let me out of the hay bale. I'm stuck in the hay bale. Damn it.
I couldn't hit over consistently.
It's alright, it's not your fault. Oh my goodness, that was funny though. I forget what I was saying, I got worked up about hay bales.
I don't know. I think that's
being overpowered or underpowered.
Yeah, I think
there's like one or two classes I can agree. Like Huntsman's not in a great place.
No.
And like Pyro has like one good build. So like, I can see it for some of the classes, but just
Pyro
I
used
don't
to
like
be
the
so
idea
good though
of
before they fucked her up.
what's that?
Pyro used to be really good before they fucked up
Pyro
Pearl.
used to be really good, but they screwed her up somewhere along the line.
I guess I kind of feel like, you know, if you're a really good player and you play the elf and you get a gajillion damage, that's one thing. But if you get a gajillion damage on the elf, you're not very good, and then you go and you play any other class and you complain that you're not at the top anymore. I think that's the problem people have, is they don't realize that it's just that overpowered that makes them think that they're better than they are or something, I don't know.
Well, just
so they gotta
prove a
defend it
point
so
the
they can
other
feel like
day-
they're really good at the game.
Just to prove a point the other day, I like to consider myself a decent player, even if I screw around and fuck up a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot of times we do
I was
that.
playing dual sword tag bane handmade. And that is awful. That is one of the worst builds you could possibly do. Because dual swords are just the worst weapon in the game. Hands down, nothing beats it. And I still got most kills and most damage.
Yeah.
And I, could I deal with armor? Not really. However, I was still doing very good gimping myself, and that's just how good a lot of the Elf's kit is.
Exactly.
It's just a lot of it's really, really good, or it's not that the weapon itself is OP. I think a lot of it's not even that the weapon itself is OP, it's that the talents she can give herself
are really good,
synergize really, really well. Whereas a lot of other classes don't get that option. You know, you'd think Huntsman would be one of those big range damage classes, and he can do all right, but he's not good at melee, unlike the Elf. You know, the Elf kind of just does everything, in my opinion. You know, I understand if people don't necessarily... There's a bomb and a strength potion here, by the way. I understand if people don't necessarily agree with, like, my ideas, but I think that the general consensus is... See a lot of people who are like, oh, well, don't nerf anything. You should just buff all the underpowered stuff. And it's like, no, because then everything is overpowered.
Everything would be ridiculously overpowered. If you just imagine it, if they buffed like Rapier or something like that.
I mean,
like,
Rapier is not the underpowered one.
What if they buffed like Witch Hunter Captain? I mean, he's widely
That's what I
considered
mean.
one of the best characters in the game.
Well, I mean, they say buff the underpowered one, but Witch Hunter Captain it's not.
Oh my god, Hook Rat just wouldn't grab me. Oh, am I lagging out again?
Can be. We have
health
160 ping.
and a health on the ground. And a
Hook Rat inbound.
No, bad, no grab. No, no grab.
It's not you, so myself, I forget.
Assassin?
Anyway, just to essentially finish my thought, I really think I don't like the idea of buffing everything.
Yeah, patrol.
Oh god, I think that's a bad idea because it'll just lead to more power creep than we already have, and it's the power creep we already have is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of actually balancing the game and, you know, buffing the underperforming items and nerfing the way overperforming items and characters, whatever, in general. Oh my god.
Careful, specials.
Assassin. Tornado coming.
Why are they all on me?
Pirate.
The other problem too is I think we inherently have a different perspective of the game than most of the people that are complaining on these forum posts or defending on these forum posts.
Well, just to come down to it, a lot of people. I dodged that and got out of it
And
because
you
I
actually got
out. I got out of it by going through the fence. Oh my god. A lot of people don't have the playtime that a lot of us have in general, so I think they don't inherently have as much of an understanding. Not that their opinion or their thoughts aren't good or anything like that, but
or the other thing
there's
too,
a certain amount of knowledge that comes with, you know, a lot of playtime and just understanding where the game was, you know, some years ago versus now.
The other thing that ties into the playtime too, though, I think, is the difficulty. Not to say that people that play on harder are, you know, better, but without that frame of reference, it's really easy to not understand that the suggestion you're making would literally make a weapon ridiculously overpowered on harder difficulties.
Right. You know, and that's a lot of it, is they just don't have the experience that they, you know, that they, it may seem like it's, oh, well, it doesn't do this and that and the other thing. It's like how people were complaining about the warrior priest at first. Oh, well, he doesn't do anything. It's like, no, you're trying to make him do the wrong things. He is not a special fighter. He is not a boss fighter. He is a horde and elite monster. You know, is incredibly survivable, has a long range, essentially, at bare minimum, protection ability, you know, or even a res. You know, like, he is really powerful, but you gotta use them to do the right things, you know. I'm not gonna take Swift Bow and then complain that I can't kill elites in one game.
That's the tough thing with these games, though, is balancing it so it's fun at all difficulty levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is got to be very challenging.
I can imagine.
I'm quite sure Fresh Shark only balance at most on Legend.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, is like, I think you could put, like, baby's first video game in the Recruit, and they would probably be okay. You know, Recruit is so brain dead easy. You know, but...
Well, you don't even have to fight anything. You can literally just press W and win.
Yeah. You know, so, like, Recruit and even Veteran, like, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm bored. And it's like, yeah, I get it. They locked the difficulties behind a power cap, which is...
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
It's kind of because then, you know, well, it keeps the bad
I don't understand
players
why
on
they
higher
didn't...
difficulties.
I don't understand why they didn't do the same thing they did in the first game, which was lock it behind the thing, but also let your friends pull you into the higher difficulty.
Yeah, well, in the first game, didn't they lock it behind completing
Yes,
the previous difficulty?
No, you just need to finish hard.
But your friends that had beat it could pull you up. So, like, if you had never played a level and your friend had beat it on Kata, they could pull you into Kata on that level.
Gotcha.
Right.
Speaking of things I missed from game one, I missed the contract board. That was a great way to get people some control over the loot. And
that was
not entirely
super late
certain why they
game,
got rid
though.
of it. Oh yeah, absolutely. It took them forever just to get to that point.
Don't know why they don't do it.
I think they don't do it now because
the time they wanted to redo the loot system because people were complaining because you could get things for classes you didn't even play. So
exactly, it was a completely different.
And that was annoying.
System.
Like I play Kruger. I don't want elf items. I don't care. You're about to be swept away.
The benefit of that system, though, was that you could only get... Well, yeah, but another different aspect of it was that you could only get one red of that item. If you got a red two-handed sword, you couldn't get another red two-handed sword.
Yeah.
But the Vermintide one only has 2 sets, so...
Oh god, I am gonna have to sacrifice my life. Oh, I didn't die from that. Surprised.
Yeah, you have
Not
a magic.
like that.
You can just heal yourself for some tap.
You know, I liked giving people control over the loot that they could get. Now, apparently the issue was with that system, and I think why they ultimately got rid of it, is because for some reason, it would drop DLC items for people who didn't own the DLC. And they didn't like that.
Interesting. You would just think they would exclude them from the table. Problem solved.
You would think, but it's Fat Shark's spaghetti code, so I don't know why they didn't. But instead of doing, you know, that...
That would make sense they have a problem with that, because even in this game, the fact that you have to break down reds to make the other reds for the DLC weapons is kind of ridiculous.
And that's exactly what it spawned from, is that I don't know if they ever fixed and figured out how to exclude the DLC weapon from the board. So I think instead of figuring it out and fixing it, they just made a new system.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, they wanted to change it anyway, because towards the end of the life of V1, they realized that it was too random. But then they gave us even more random. I mean, yeah, my box is restricted to the class that I open it with. but it's still random what I get and when I get it. Whereas, at least with the contract board, you could say, oh, that's cool, I want that, and then work towards it and have something to do without daily and weekly quests. You get anything you wanted instead of calling for a hat nobody thinks about.
Indeed, but firm
That's something they abandoned the day the game was.
Yeah.
I have like 15,000 coins and nothing to spend them on.
And a lot of the hats are just butt ugly. Or I noticed, you guys might have been here when I noticed it. The Kruber mercenary sideburns are his sideburns from game 1. They just ported them from game 1. They didn't change the colors. Because in this game, Kruber doesn't have any gray in his hair. It's just all brown. But his sideburns in game 1 had a bunch of gray in them. And his sideburns have a bunch of gray in them. And so they don't fit with the rest of his beard and mustache because it's all brown.
The thing that I don't like
When we get
is
to the
they,
cape, I can show you.
they limit the cosmetics to the class. If I want to use Pyromancer Helm on Unchained, I don't see why I shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, you
They-
can only do it on modded.
Only Pyromancer and Unchained are close enough in style. But like
So
all
what
other,
they
it's a
claim
bit
is
weird
that
to
they
like
wanna make it easily identifiable at a glance. Like, that's a witch hunter. That's a whatever. And it's like, I mean, you could just like glance to the top left and see, oh yeah, I have a witch hunter, but that's what they say, you know. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, because literally, I love Unchained. That's what I like to play, and all of the cool cosmetics are for all
not
of
on
the other Yeah, exactly.
all 3 cool cosmetics that poor Sienna actually gets are on other classes. Because God, they just don't like Sienna for cosmetics, man. She just gets the raw.
Well, isn't she the least
all
played?
time.
She's the least played class.
Nick Lee. I mean, I think more or less she's the least played class because she feels.
oh, no ammo.
And don't get me wrong, I like Sienna and I like all of her classes. I just like Unchained the least of all of them personally. But she's the one who definitely across all the classes feels safe.
I'll be honest,
Really
I've
good.
actually never played anything but Unchained except for like the number of games to unlock her.
Gotcha. You know, that's the thing, though. I feel like Unchained is the most different out of the classes. Because, like, if you even just look at Battle Wizard and Pyromancer, they don't look different. They don't. They look the same.
It looks very,
And-
very similar, yeah.
They even kind of play the same. It's pretty much the same hero, just a slightly different ult. It's not like one of them is way better at melee and the other is way better at range. They're
Well,
both
Pyro is way better in it.
about this. Well, that's only one build. You know, it's one very specific build. Whereas, they didn't go out there to establish, like, oh yeah, this one is going to be the super strong range one. This one's going to be the super strong melee one. It just feels like she fell into that after the big balance beta by total coincidence.
I just hope the DLC Sienna I get to turn into a fire tornado.
Oh,
just
that'd be
hope-
dope.
That it's good.
I want her to be a necromancer.
That would be
I
really
don't.
fun.
I don't think they can. I really don't.
I don't know that they can, but it would be cool and it would fit because, you know, her sister
Huh?
was a necromancer.
Where's my own?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think Games Workshop will let them, and frankly, I
It
don't
would
know
make.
that
It would
they
break all the lore. I mean, Salt Spire and Kruber would
Yeah.
murder her.
They're like,
Exactly.
I love
their
it.
whole backstory is
Even the dwarf, I believe. I mean, I think the only person who would technically be okay with it would be Aurelian. Because I believe in the lore, Wood Elves have access to the lore of Death.
Is Shade part of that?
What's that?
Is Shade a part of that lore?
No, that's Dark Elves. But they have access to the lore of Death as well. But not Shades specifically.
I like how we had the both same idea on that door. We're like, what's in there?
I want items.
This will do our humans
No, not again. Why? Hi, Sigmar. Why do you punish me?
Sorry. I missed my shot.
I
You're
just
gonna have to rescue me now. Thank you.
I've had no luck dodging congrats tonight.
One more.
I made on the ping. So cold in my room. Turn out yeah.
How cold is so cold?
How come it's so cold? Oh, is that why it's so cold?
I said, how cold is so cold?
I don't know. I'll have to check the temperature.
It's so cold. Meanwhile, in Ohio, it's been negative degrees the last couple of days.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
not,
even be
that's
alive.
neither would I. That's not acceptable.
We got
The,
12 to 16 inches of snow.
The central heat in the house is set to 78, and there's a heater in my room set to 80.
It looks like that one-handed axe is actually working pretty well for you there.
Well, for sure, if I'm using the better weapons, I can do better.
It's how you use them.
I mean, it's fun to do, even if the build is not good or not great. It's fun to try something new.
Yeah.
I get bored of playing the same thing all the time. That's why I couldn't imagine having like 4,000 hours as just the elf. I play everything.
Well, I'm quite sure some people go like they try the more difficult content without like playing all the different playstyle. Like they go Mother Grim just using the same weapons.
Yeah, that's kind
Like
of
they raise the difficulty all the time.
I'm kind of a one-trick. I can play Sienna, Saltspire, and Carillion on like standard Cata difficulty, but I definitely can't do modded with anything other than Sienna.
If it's what you like, by all means. I just can't for myself. I need the variety.
Well, I think the variety is the content of the game. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're just playing like 20% of the weapons or playstyle, then like you only get 20% of the game content.
Oh man, there's a person on the forums that I can specifically think of and name that literally has like 5,000 hours, has never touched one of the other careers, only plays elf, and they even have it in their bio that if you play bounty hunter, huntsman, or ranger veteran, or pyromancer, they'll kick you from their game. They want to be the only range class in the game.
Wow. That is incredibly toxic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would never assume people were like that, but, you know, I don't really play with randoms too much. Probably for this reason.
I've never played with them because, like, the second they showed up on the forum and started talking, I blocked them because I knew right away I never want to play a game with this person.
Just blocks people left and right.
I do. I mean, I have like a 200-person block list because there's certain people I just don't want to put up with. I don't want to read their gibberish on the forums. I get rid of it so I don't have to deal with it. Because if it's
I've only had a couple really toxic experiences. Hasn't been too bad. I don't troll the forums or anything like that though.
I have like 2,850 hours or something like that. And in that amount of time, I can probably count on like one or two hands how many times I've had a super, super toxic person. But yeah, I preemptively block people from the forums, so it helps me, I think, to not have as many.
I feel like most of the toxicity exists in the lower difficulties.
I do too. I think Legend and Cata are pretty good about that.
Remember that one time we went back to Legend?
Oh my god!
It's rough going back to Legend. I've had a couple nights where I've hopped on to play unusual hours and there's like no Cata games.
Yeah.
And it's just like... You feel like
It was so toxic that night that we did it. It was bad.
Yeah, it definitely tends to be a bit more toxic. And I also feel like